What did I do? Did I loop the thing? Sorry.
Oh, my
Welcome
goodness.
to That Professor's Podcast. Welcome to That Professor Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Salute, hanging out with our friend Shelly tonight. You may have noticed this is the first time in a long time we've had somebody in the booth. Usually, even when we have guests, we'll have them across the way. So, Shelly, thanks so much for being here tonight.
I'm so excited. This is fun. I've never done something like this before.
Absolutely. And speaking of never doing something like this before, I think a lot of people are tuning in tonight because they saw the word swinger. They saw the word lifestyle. I'm going to see if I get kicked off of TikTok again because I got kicked off last time I said the word swinger. And I think a lot of people saw the banner on this and said, let's talk about this, right? So I'm super excited to hear about your experience. So I'm the worst at explaining who people are. So Shelly, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell folks how I met Shelly, and then I'm going to let you do, because I'll remember that you're a Sagittarius, but I won't remember, something very important. So Shelly is in a lifestyle group that I am in. She had approached me about coming on the show. She saw probably one of my worst shows that I posted in the group, so sorry about that.
I still wanted to come on.
I appreciate that. So Shelly, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am originally from Honolulu, Hawaii. I've lived in Vegas back and forth since 1989. Yes, it was a yeehaw town when I got here. I'm 54, turning speed limit 55 this year, and been in the swinger lifestyle for about 16 years now, 2007.
Love it. Now, specifically, Shelly, I mean, we can have anybody on who's in the lifestyle, right? Mm-hmm. We'll talk about what the lifestyle means. But specifically, Shelly, I want to talk to you a little bit about what you like to do in this lifestyle. And if you haven't figured out what the lifestyle is, it's what would you call it? Like a code kind of for swinging this way? People, it's kind of a more adult way of saying it.
It's not a code. It's literally
what it is.
A lifestyle.
Right.
I mean, we are living a lifestyle.
Right.
You've heard the term vanilla. So right. They are not living the lifestyle.
And quite personally, I love vanilla. It's my favorite flavor. But
put a little chocolate on there now. We're talking.
Right. So when we talk about the lifestyle, right, Shelly, you do something very unique in this lifestyle. You've been there for a while. We'll talk about your history, but specifically what I love about, and the reason that I wanted you to come on is you have a group, and probably one of many groups that you started here in Las Vegas, but specifically to educate newcomers to the lifestyle. Is that correct?
Yes.
Awesome.
I have taken on many different things in this lifestyle since beginning. So we all know it's about sex, of course. It's about freedom. It's about non-judgment. It's about being able to be you sexually openly. Mm-hmm, and I have tried and done a lot, fulfilled a lot of fantasies. And nowadays, what I'm really enjoying doing is bringing new people into the lifestyle. Yeah. There are a lot of people that don't know that there are other freaks like them. There's a lot of people moving into town, and they're looking for a connection to others just like them. And they don't realize that there's a huge community of freaky people that want to enjoy and bring you in. And I just love giving that gift.
Absolutely. As soon as you mention fantasy, the first fantasy that I think about is being able to eat 4 scoops of ice cream every day and not feel bloated. Is that the kind of fantasy, or are we talking about a different kind of fantasy?
No, that would put you in the vanilla category.
That would be the vanilla category.
No. There is an eating situation going on, and yes, you could use ice cream too. That is true.
Even if it's cookie dough ice cream, apparently you're still vanilla. So before we get into the beef of everything, I want to just update you on what's going on with the network. So we're hitting like over 2 million views in Roku. I don't even know what that is. That's fantastic. Please, if you have a topic that you want to talk about, come on the show. We want to hear from you. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to be having some of my people in my network, some dating coaches, talking about a lot of fun and exciting new stuff. So please come on the show. It's been a lot of fun. The show is, of course, brought to you by That Professor Life podcast, That Professor Life Coaching, and my book behind me, The College Admission, which has nothing to do with swinging lifestyle, by the way. Well, I guess some people experiment in college.
It got you there.
So if you are on, please do comment with us. Please do ask some questions, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Doreen says hello from Las Vegas. Hello, Doreen. How are you? And we will try to answer every question that we can. Again, we try to keep the show to about 40, 45 minutes because I personally have ADHD and I can't stay on for much longer. So try, get into those questions early. Make sure that you ask those questions early because we want to make sure that we answer your questions. So Shelly, let's talk a little bit about you. Talk to us. And we, Shelly, we were fortunate enough to talk a little bit earlier. So I learned that Shelly is super cool. I am not a handy person at all. If you've noticed, my home is being rebuilt by me, and it's falling apart every day.
It's okay. We only went a little crooked.
Right, right. Okay. But Shelly has experience in automotive. She's got experience. So tell us a bit about you, personally, professionally. How'd you, all the fun stuff.
Oh gosh, I'm kind of like I've done a lot. I've been in automotive. I've been a service manager off and on for the last 30 plus years. I've also been an insurance agent. A lot do and some don't know. I've owned an escort service here in town. And right now I'm actually loving being in the lifestyle, realizing that the swinger lifestyle is my happy place. And I brought so many people into this world just in the last year. By different ways, mainly my dating sites. And I've introduced them to the life, and everybody's just having a great time, meeting so many new people. And that's my thing, is just introducing people and showing up and having a good time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Love that. Very cool. So tell me a little bit about what inspired you. So you look at the show, you looked at a terrible show, and you said, I want to get in on this show. So what is our goal tonight? What do we want to do? What inspired you to come on?
Number one, I wanted to see what it was like. This is an experience. I'm just the type of person who's like, ooh, what is that? I want to try.
Right.
So that's my one thing. The one main thing why I'm here is I've never been on a podcast. So yay, I finally did it.
Right.
The other main thing is, like I said, bringing new people into the lifestyle. So I have a lifestyle profile because I separated it from my personal life, my family and friends that don't get it, won't get it, or just shouldn't know. So with my LS profile, I'm able to open up more and be more open about how I think and how I feel about sex. So there are quite a few people that I have brought over that I've known for years that know Shelly's got something more to her than and they want to know more. So
absolutely,
by doing this podcast, I have friends that are either in my group or have not wanted to go that far yet, but now hopefully they're watching, and they will watch, and they'll see that somebody that they've known for years is happy and healthy, and maybe they'll come out and check it out with me. Who knows?
Love it.
Like I said, new people. Come on, let's have some fun.
And it's probably a good idea to go over some terminology at this point, right? So the first thing that I want to be clear about, and you've watched my show before on the lifestyle, if you're a frequent watcher, I want to be clear about one thing, and Shelly's going to give us a bit of terminology. And if you're watching on TikTok or Instagram, please feel free to stop us, ask some questions. When we talk about swinging, very often somebody says, "Oh, so you're into non-committal, casual, these sort of things," and while there could be some elements or some similarities between non-committal and casual sex, it's not necessarily a non-committal casual situation. Typically, those who are in the lifestyle commit themselves to the lifestyle. And there's a lot. And Megan, I'm sure you're watching, and if you're not, shame on you. But even my partner Megan and I, we are not currently in the lifestyle. We do more BDSM and kink than anything else. But it's not just hitting somebody on the butt, right? It would be very easy if that's all it was. It's an understanding of the terminology, the people, the players, the consent, everything that goes into that. So I'd love, Shelly, can you tell us in your words what the lifestyle is?
Consent and respect. Definitely always the forefront. Always need to remember that. The swinger lifestyle focuses mostly towards couples. That's the whole point. It's non-monogamy. So couples are able to still enjoy their sexuality. Variety is the spice of life. I mean, we all love going to a buffet. So why can't we have a sexual buffet?
Fair.
I mean, true enough, there are bisexual folks out there that love both men and women. So this way, that doesn't mean you don't love your partner.
Right.
In fact, in some ways, by giving the gift to your partner to be able to let them sexually enjoy themselves and give them fantasies that you can't, you're loving them more. Right. I myself, I'm not in a couple. I have done this single my entire 16 years. Yes, I have played with couples, and single men are, of course, my favorite. I am right now actually looking for a partner in crime and a best friend. Not hi
Megan
Megan.
says I'm absolutely watching.
So I would love to experience the couple part of it instead
Yeah.
of being the single person. I always see their views, but I've never been one of them. So that's one of my next, like I said, I'm evolving, constantly evolving in this lifestyle. You can't stay still. You have to keep finding new things to do and avenues, and that's how you're able to enjoy it.
Absolutely. And so to Destiny on TikTok, this beautiful lady, as you have asked, is Shelly. So Shelly and I are talking a bit about the lifestyle. And for those who don't understand what the lifestyle is, we're talking about swinging. And so Shelly has kind of defined swinging for us. And there's going to be some terminology that may come about during this conversation, may not. This is a topic that I've been asked over and over to talk a little bit more about. So a couple of things that we've touched on that I've been very shy about. I'm going to be honest with you because I have a professional self that exists 24 hours a day. But some things that people have asked us to talk about: the swinger lifestyle, polyamory and ethical non-monogamy, BDSM and kink, dominance and submission, lifestyle dominance and submission. These are some things that we're going to start getting into. And, I don't pretend to be the expert on all of these things. I would say that I'm a subject matter expert maybe on one or two and still have so much to learn. So we want to bring folks in like Shelly who understand and have been in this game, as we call it, or in this lifestyle for such a long time. And how many years have you been in the lifestyle, Shelly?
2007. It's been about 16 years. I mean, I do take my breaks. Don't get me wrong. Real life does take over and you need to do it. I had a kid to raise, but what is so also wonderful about this community is that you can take that break and then you turn around and you walk back in a club or a party and it's like you never left.
Absolutely.
They remember you, they love you, and they accept you. And it's just awesome because everybody knows we have our lives. It just is what it is.
Absolutely. I would say, so Dal and I head to one of our favorite, and they should sponsor us here. We head to Whispers, which is just the place that
I love Whispers. Yes.
We've just, and it doesn't mean that we don't like the other clubs, but it's just, we found our niche, we found our folks, and we just found our comfort zone there. And to be honest, you can go to any lifestyle club. I've gone to lifestyle clubs in New York and in Florida and Nashville. You can go to any lifestyle club and one of two things can happen. And we'll talk about parties as well and private events.
Right.
But you can go to any lifestyle event and one of two things can happen. One is you feel very comfortable. One is something happens that makes you feel uncomfortable. And it doesn't matter if it's vetted, the security. We talked about the security guard at the lifestyle club in my last show. I don't know if you watched that, but the first time I ever went to a lifestyle club with a different partner, this was years ago, we had disclosed to the security guard who asked us, what are your limitations? And my partner at the time said, I don't want you to be, she said, I don't want you to be protective. I want you to be territorial. Don't let another man touch me. Were her exact words. I said, okay, don't have to tell me twice. That was a big fear of mine, was being topped, being emasculated by another man. And so a long time ago. So we told the security guard that. And this guy was a gun holstering, packing ex-police officer and said, okay, heard, will not let another man touch you. Long story short, you'll watch the podcast, but we get home that evening. He came and checked on us, and we were in one of the rooms. And I thought that was very comforting that he did that. I couldn't see. And so we're doing some aftercare at home, and my partner says to me, didn't you find it odd that the security guard touched me? And I said, the security guard touched you? And she said, oh, I thought you knew that. And I said, well, how would I know? I couldn't see. And so the point of that is not to out the security guard, which I would love to do. But the point of that is no matter where you are, no matter who you play with, no matter who you're enjoying your company with, it doesn't matter. You can find comfort or discomfort in any one of these situations. We just happen to have found it. But the whole point of that story was, what Dal only gets to come to our to Vegas maybe once or twice a month. So we only get to see our friends there, but maybe once a month. But when we go, we're welcome with open arms, and it's such a wonderful feeling. Whether or not, I mean, sometimes we're just talking about Dungeons and Dragons the whole time. We're not even we're literally exchanging casserole recipes, and that's it. But it's nice to be with like-minded people.
Yes.
So on that note, TikTok, if you're with us, we're going to be heading over to Instagram. Sorry, not sorry. You know the deal. Go over to Instagram. You can actually catch it right there. And come on and ask some questions on YouTube. We'll have some fun. So Shelly, while we're switching over to Instagram, we've got a great question, and then we'll jump into some other terminology. Megan asks, what are some things you've learned about jealousy as a single woman in a lifestyle for 16 years? Now, I have to add, Megan, is this something that you and I should explore later in the evening?
I have been very careful with that. Playing with couples has been a learning experience to the point where I normally will only play with couples from out of town. The reason being is things have happened and uncomfortable situations, and I just don't want to see them again after.
Yeah.
So if they're from out of town, seeing them again, it changes that risk of running into them in a club or a party or anything here in town.
Absolutely.
And it just makes things easier. Couples, it can be very difficult, and jealousy they have to talk. If they don't talk first, hi Sheila. If they don't talk first and discuss and have everything worked out before they walk into a situation, and they learn as they go, boy, are they going to learn very, very tough lessons that way.
Absolutely.
And they have to stick with they have to agree on it, and they have to stick with it. It's just that's just it. I've found myself knowing a couple's rules and telling somebody, look, you guys, I know your rules.
Yes, right.
I know what you're, so please don't
put me in that situation,
that
right?
Part.
And to that point, Shelly, and we'll talk about, you might hear phrases like parallel play, which is two couples playing next to each other, or a hard swap or a soft swap. You could imagine the difference, right? A soft swap being everything but the, but actual intercourse, and then a hard swap being a hard swap, right? Doing the nasty. So when we talk about these things, we'll start to define these for you. But, you want to be in these situations where, you've not just, there's two C's, communication and consistency, right? So if you communicate what you want, you need to stay consistent between that. And you've heard me say this, whether it's lifestyle, BDSM, whatever it is, because it's never an if, I will speak with my partner and say, what is your goal this evening? And if she says, my goal is to do blank, we don't go past blank no matter what happens that evening, because in the heat of the moment, you may find yourself enthusiastically wanting to do something that you might regret later. So to Shelly's end, it's important to know your rules, be consistent with your rules, and the other part of it is too, if you're breaking your own rules and now you've brought a third or fourth party in, now you're hurting other people potentially when you have to end that relationship or whatever. We've all been there where we make a mistake with someone. Don't make a mistake with 2 or 3 people. So Shelly says, hi Kiki, how are you? And so now that we've gone over some terminology, can you tell us a bit about your lifestyle group?
Well, living, loving lifestyle. It's exactly what it means. I'm living it and I'm loving it. And everybody in that group, I have made sure I've gotten to try to know as much as possible through my first party, our first party. And it was incredible. Once again, thank you, everybody. I love you. You guys are just amazing. And I'm looking forward to many more in smaller venues, bigger venues, and just getting with all my friends and building the group. The group especially I love is we throw some polls out there. We throw, of course, a lot of funny memes, which I don't mind everybody sharing, by the way. But the questions, I love putting out those questions.
Yeah.
It gives people answers and makes you think about things that you see other sides that you don't really see. And like I said, once again, there are a lot of new people in my group. So by throwing out these questions and these polls, I think they're getting to know people a lot quicker and easier, and they're in the middle of it versus me how to work my way in. So I love doing that, so that way they're able to get to know people a lot better and figure out if they enjoy it, and hopefully keep the bad experiences down to a minimum.
Well, I think it takes away the anonymity, right? So it used to be that you go to a club, you meet somebody, or you go to a party, you meet somebody, and that might be the only time that you see that person. And even just taking away the word lifestyle, that can happen in any occasion, in any place that you go, right? But when you introduce yourself to these groups, you're now taking away that anonymity. One, you're going to see that person in the group and you can call that person out or whatever. But two is there's less of a chance that you're going to encounter that red flag, because if you had, you may have encountered that red flag online
right, because
already.
you've already seen what they've had to say about answering these questions. So now you know you're what type of person you're dealing with.
Exactly. I always say this too. So I used to go to a different club, and I won't name the club, but and I was with a different partner, and this club was less lifestyle and really more drunk people getting drunk and then sleeping together. And I remember specifically there was a woman that we wanted to include in our evening, and the more and more the more the evening went on, the drunker and drunker she got. And by the end of the evening, I said, I can't, I don't feel right about doing this. And so that's really important. And so I said to my partner, I said, gosh, I wish somebody would just come up to us, sit down sober and talk. And then at the end of the conversation, say, you seem like a fun couple. I'd like to get to know you. So sure enough, we go outside, I go smoke a cigar, and in comes a woman. And I'm going to be honest, it was a woman who was a bit older than me. And I think that was the reason, because she had been around this lifestyle and said, I'm done playing the games.
Right.
And she came over, she talked and whatever. The whole point of that, the analogy that I'm trying to make, is that's the equivalent of these lifestyle groups. If it's something that you want to explore and you don't have the courage yet or the bravery to go to, I mean, it's a big experience going to an event like that, or joining a couple, or having somebody join you, or switching with a new couple, or going on a couple's date. So these are really difficult things to do.
It's the mind process, how we were raised. I mean, the things that our parents told us, like sex was not hardly ever discussed.
Right.
I was 15 years old before I actually knew where babies literally came out.
Right.
I mean, that's awful.
The stork, right?
No, they showed me a video. Actually, I was like, no, that's how I found out. So I don't want people to find out like that. It's,
absolutely.
Warning.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's interesting. So I made a TikTok about some BDSM or lifestyle, I forget what it was. And somebody made an interesting comment, and she said, wouldn't it be great if we talked about these things to our children? Because first of all, these are the types of situations that they could encounter. But second of all, I think what I brought up in that TikTok was more so than vanilla, folks. The consent and communication that typically happens with a couple, ethically non-monogamous or BDSM couple, is unprecedented, because you're engaging in what I call a higher risk sexual behavior, a higher risk activity. Mm-hmm. If I'm beating Megan with, if I'm beating my doll with a piece of leather, I need to hear her so that she says, green, red, that's a 7, stop, right? We need to know what's going on. We also need to communicate. Hey, this is a piece of leather, it's going to hurt. Let me show you how it feels on my arm, right? How often do you talk to your partner, right, before you go out to dinner and say, before we go out to dinner, if a waitress catches my eye, are you going to get jealous about that? You never do. But how often do you talk about that before you go to the lifestyle club? Almost every time.
Well, and you're supposed to.
Right. That's
the whole thing, is you've got to be able to talk to your partner, and you've got to be able to talk to anybody, actually. It's communication. You have rules, but you just you just have to communicate. That's the most important thing. And evolving, like I said, you can't stay stagnant. You can't just do the same thing, go out with the same people. You need to move around and introduce yourself. You never know what's going to be opened up to you, and what you're going to learn and what you're going to experience that you never thought you were going to like. Me, I'm the type, it's like, ooh, what does this do? I'm going to try it once, and maybe twice if I wasn't quite sure.
Right.
But that's just it. I've done that. And with the new people, I want them to get out there and realize that there's just so much to do. And evolution is a big part of that.
Now, here's a question, and I hope I don't throw you off, so we're going to go off script for a second. So you mentioned this, and this has been something that a lot of folks ask me, right? You mentioned, okay, so you try something and you like it.
Aloha.
Great. And that's fine. But what if you try something and you don't like it? How do we overcome that maybe trigger or fear or discomfort?
You chalk it up as a lesson learned, and that's important. You cannot be down on yourself about it. I've been there. I've done that, walked away and went, oh, what the hell did I just do?
Right. What did you just do? Right.
But I knew putting myself in that situation, that it could go 1, 2, or 5 different ways.
Sure.
So you have to realize that. You have to prepare yourself. And then when you do walk away from a crappy, shitty situation, you just have to recognize that they're not always going to be great. They're not always going to be average. There's going to be the good, the bad, and the ugly. And you have to come back from it. That's just in anything you deal with.
Yeah. So that makes sense. So it sounds to me like, and let me preface this also with, before you engage in that situation, I would imagine you'd have to only engage in a situation where if you tell yourself it's going to go bad, it's not going to destroy you or your relationship, right? So I get, so one thing that I would probably say, if this is something that you want to engage in, if this is something that you want to learn more about, you and your partner, let's throw out a scenario. You and your partner say, I want to try X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. Before trying that, have a clear conversation and say, if we don't like this, is this going to be an indecent proposal? Is this going to break our marriage up or our relationship? And if the answer is yes, if you're so sure that you're going to like it, but there's a chance that it could destroy your relationship, you do a little bit more exploration and more communication before trying it.
Definitely. And here's the thing. Some couples will do that. They will do something together. What happens? One's going to like it. One's not going to like it.
Sure.
What do you do then? That's when being in this lifestyle really does come in handy and help you. Because now that one that does like it, like, for example, BDSM, the husband doesn't want to whoop her ass, but she wants her ass whooped. You know what I'm saying? What do? You give her permission to explore. You guys make the rules, say, do not do this. Please, I would appreciate. But you let her explore, because that's the other thing is, once you start this, you can't pull the reins back on somebody. You just can't. You've opened up something, and once you start, you gotta let it keep going. You don't want to hurt anybody. No, absolutely not. But you need to understand each other and know when to give this gift to your partner.
Yeah. When I think the answer is compromise, right? So within your limits and the values that you can hold dear, if you can allow your partner the space to do X, Y, and Z, then do it. And the other part of it is too, if you're not planning on allowing your partner to do X, Y, and Z, you better learn to do X, Y, and Z, because now you've opened that door. So there have been times where my partner and I, I remember specifically, I'm not going to throw all of our details out, but she said,
"Oh, come on."
She said to me about a year ago, maybe 7 or 8 months ago, she said, "This is something I want to do, and I've enjoyed it. And if it's something that you can't do, then we'll have the discussion about exploring elsewhere." And when she told me what it was such an intimate thing. I said, "Oh no. I'm doing that." Yes. And I'll be honest, it was not something that I ever wanted to do. It was something that I was adamant about not doing. And I grew to enjoy this particular process, not because I enjoy it, but because I wanted my partner to enjoy it. And now, I'm going, when can we do it? When can we do it?
That's the whole thing. It's the gift. It's the giving. It's giving.
Right.
And that's what makes us all feel and open up even more, is being able to give a gift to somebody that you care about, or to yourself. It's the best thing in the whole wide world.
You know what I liken it to, and I don't know if you prescribe to this terminology, this analogy, but it's like showing someone your favorite food. Mm-hmm. You're enjoying your favorite dish, and you go, "Oh, try this," and they try it, and they go, "Could use a little more salt." Okay, so that's not the particular dish that you love, but
right?
You show them the dish, and they go, "Oh my God, this is the best dish I've ever had," and that is where the pleasure and the gift, where you enjoy it. So absolutely love that. So Doreen says, "I've definitely learned from things I did because it was what they wanted. Now I do what I want." Love that. Very cool.
That's my girl.
So Shelly, we've talked about your lifestyle group. I think the response seems to be great, right? Mm-hmm. Let's talk about your journey. So I know that you mentioned you've been doing this for 15 plus years. Tell me a bit about, and tell our viewers a bit about, how this came about. I would imagine, I don't think that you just wake up one morning and say, "This is what I want to do." So I know for me, when I engage in some of this stuff, it started, I got divorced and I said, "Oh, let me try Tinder." Then it was, let me try this website. Then it was, let me try this event. Then it was, let me try this, and then all of a sudden you're finding what you like and what you don't like. So talk about your journey if you can.
Well, my son was 4 and I was turning 38 and my my sexual prime was coming in hot. So, back then I still had the traditional thought of I needed to find a boyfriend. So after five awful first dates, the 5th guy finally made it to 2.5 and we tried something. Well, it just didn't work out, but I still wanted sex. So in the middle of the night, one night, I discovered Adult Friend Finder. And that has been my playground since 2007. So between Adult Friend Finder and now Tinder is my other favorite. Those are my 2 favorite sites. So those are my sites for finding people that I would like to meet. But also I have met numerous people, single men, single women, and couples on there because it's on my profiles. Get in touch. I'm lifestyle enthusiast, and they do. And I've brought them and introduced them to, in fact, there's a couple on here right now, but, met them literally off dating sites and brought them into our life, and they're just loving it and enjoying it, and one step at a time. And I always encourage everybody, ask me, talk to me, my group, ask me, talk to me. I get inbox messages all the time. I have no problem. I love it. It's just fun for me. I've always been a giver. So just, giving this to other people and new people. But yeah, dating sites is how I got into this. Adult Friend Finder, I think it was like the 3rd or 4th guy I met on there. He actually did lifestyle parties. So I was like, oh my God, the Red Rooster. Oh, I'd heard about that place.
Right.
My son's dad had been begging me to go there. I'm like, no.
And the Red Rooster is OG, right? Is that one of the originals?
1982, baby.
Okay.
Yes, that is the OG, the first one. That is my roots right there. And so I went to a party that he had over at the cannery. And it was only like 20 people, but it was a lot of fun. And I was having a fucking good time. So then he had a second party at, Whispers used to be the Oasis.
The Oasis, right.
So he had a big party there. So I went there and, oh my God, there was the glow in the dark room. It had all the stars. And I was like, yeah, okay. So then the next weekend, I finally agreed to meet them at the Red Rooster.
Okay.
And my girlfriend and I went in there. We were holding each other's hands like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Shaking, right?
But then all of a sudden there's like, hey, I met you at the party. Hey, I met you over there. Next thing you know, I'm like recognizing 5, 6, 7 people. And then there was a couple guys I actually knew that I had dated. And let's just say the rest is history. That place has just become my happy place. And I've introduced it to so many different people. And yeah, it's 3rd generation now, and it's just fun. You dance, you have a good time, you party with your friends, and yeah.
Very cool. And for those, just in case you're wondering the dialogue between Megan and I was waiting for her to turn 38, not to become a swinger, but for her sex drive to reach maturity. So.
Oh yeah, and when it hit, ooh,
good.
Ooh, that thing, it slammed.
see, that's out 38. I'm 38 now, so hopefully I keep it up. So Doreen says, I've been in and out of the LS or lifestyle for 10 years. I left and tried dating apps. They just wanted sex, so I went back. Also seems safer for me. Now this is interesting because so you've got 2 different things that you're saying, right? One is all the folks on your dating app wanted sex, and now somebody who's not initiated in the lifestyle will say, well, isn't that what everybody wants at the club? Different, and we'll explain why. Number 2 also seems safer for me. Let me explain, if I may, what Doreen means, and I don't mean to speak for you. I'm not trying to mansplain, so Doreen, if I'm wrong, please come on and tell us. But Doreen's saying 2 things. The folks on dating apps are only looking for sex, but they are not coming up front. They're not being upfront and transparent. Whereas folks in a lifestyle club may or may not just want sex. Because I'll be honest, I've been in these situations and in these rooms where Dial and I have gone to
friendship.
Yeah, we've gone to a club and just left after 3 hours.
It's friendship.
In fact, our tradition is we leave before Cane's Chicken closes. And so people go. So,
me too.
Yeah.
I hit up
So people go, they go, oh, you're leaving for Cane's? They go, we're leaving for Cane's Chicken. And so very often we're not doing anything. We just like to go observe and meet new people, and we go home and we have our own fun, or we don't. We eat our Cane's Chicken, go to sleep. But the point I think that Doreen is making is, if you just want to have that good time, being transparent about it is a much better way of doing it. And B, we've talked about this already, having consenting conversations, and probably, I would imagine, more conversations about STDs, safety, all those things happen with those who are more open-minded versus those who,
trying to be sneaky.
Exactly.
Trying to be sneaky. And that's just it. So on my dating sites, I am upfront and I say, look, I'm looking for my best friend. I'm looking for friends. This is not only about sex. Mm-hmm. So when they hit me up and it's just like, oh, come over, let's fuck. I'm sorry if I don't know. But I'm just like,
we can drop the F-bomb. It's okay.
Yeah.
This is evening class. So.
Okay. So my problem is I'm looking for friendship. I'm not looking just to fuck. I can do that all day, every day. I want somebody that will be cool. Well, we can hang out or not. I smoke. I want somebody to kick it and smoke weed with. That's what I'm looking for.
Devil's lettuce.
It's what the devil's lettuce.
Devil's lettuce. We're in the state of Nevada. It's perfectly legal. So don't stop judging. We're talking about all
Please.
Sorts
there's
of
more states that are legal than illegal now. So.
Absolutely. So Shelly, I want to talk a little bit about. So we've talked about your journey before. How about now? Where are you at now with the group, the lifestyle? What is it that excites you the most?
Right now, with my group, like I said, it is bringing new people into the lifestyle, and I am definitely looking for a partner in crime. I want to try things that I haven't tried before, and most of those things have to be done with a partner.
Sure.
You need somebody to watch your back.
Yeah.
And that's just flat out what I've observed over the years, and I want to try. So that's what I'm doing. But in the meantime, giving the gift, throwing these parties, I'm doing that because I'm listening. I'm listening to people. Some of these clubs aren't listening. I'm listening. And so I'm throwing these parties because I want everybody to know that I'm listening. I'm introducing you to people because I want you guys to enjoy this to the utmost fullest.
Got it.
I don't want you to be feeling like something is lacking because somebody is holding something back from you and you've asked for it. So I'm listening.
And I think when you go to these types of events, these parties, whatever, there's an infinite amount of ways that you can explore this with your partner. And there's also an infinite amount of things you can explore with your partner. I mean, this is not the only kinky, fun thing that you can do with your partner. But the point is to experience it, as you mentioned, right? You want a partner to have your back. The point is to experience it in a way that's safe. And I think that so many, and I've said this for a very long time, you've heard me talk about monogamy, right? So many partnerships break right down the middle because of a lack of communication. Instead of saying to your partner, I would like to explore X, Y, and Z, and I just want to try it once.
I love you, charms.
Right? You talk about doing it whatever as many times, and you're afraid to bring it to your partner. So instead of bringing it to your partner, you leave your partner to go try the one thing. But the reality is you could have been with your soulmate. And if you just tried communicating, this is something that I want to do. What's the worst that could happen? If your partner doesn't allow you to do it or doesn't want you to do it, then you have to decide, is my partnership more important than this one activity? Or is this trying this one activity? Or do I want to be with a partner who allows me to do this one activity? I'll say this till I'm blue in the face. I've said this. Dal and I have had this conversation about 1,000 times a day. A problem has never been solved by pulling away and communicating less.
Right.
Communicating more, over communicating in some ways is always going to be the answer. Now, you may expose yourself. You may be vulnerable. You'll have to heal from that. But it's a lot better than healing from an assumption that's made about you because you didn't communicate properly. Right. So Kiki says, yes, the current club, something is lacking in them all. The parties I have enjoyed so much more. That's interesting. So you enjoy the parties more than the clubs.
Well, the clubs, okay. The one thing with the clubs is they're wonderful. And the problem is they let everybody in. So what happens is you've got the creepies. Yeah. The creepies are mainly single men that either are disrespectful or just nasty. And, of course, there's in between. But so that's where the problem is. So the parties were able to keep the list a little bit smaller, keep the different ones. We want single men, of course, but we don't want the ones that are going to make others uncomfortable, and that includes men, women, and couples. There are just people out there that just shouldn't be in social environments.
Yeah.
And they are also the ones that walk in there thinking they paid their $100 for a single man or their $60 and they should get fucked.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not what it's about. And if that's all you think it's about, then you really just need to find somewhere else to go.
So what I loved about the clubs in New York is, and this was about 10 years ago, a single man was probably, I think, around $150 to $200. So so now, did that eliminate creeps? No, but it certainly, you had to pay your fee, and at that point you would, if $200 is a lot of money to anybody, so you're going to think twice before you get kicked out of that club, right? I think in Vegas they're starting to wise up a little bit because they're starting charging single men a little bit more. I've not been in a situation. Well, I've been in a situation once where a woman was just a complete creep, but we were in a situation once where a man was just a complete jerk. Heaving and over that, and I'm like, bro, this is not what we're here to do.
Yeah.
I remember one guy was like, hey, can you make her hit that girl? And I'm like, no, you don't. Listen, there's one dom in this room, bud. It's me. It's not you. So if you want to be a dom, go be a dom in another room. You're not topping me to top my partner. But to that end, and not all parties are created equally too. I've gotten messages from parties that said, I remember this turned me off. One party sent a message that said, we're putting in work. Ladies better be ready to put in the work. And I thought to myself, my partner and I don't swing, but I would never want to put my partner in a situation where she was working. You know what I mean? Where she was being in pain or exhausted. That's not what
we're supposed to be enjoying ourselves. And when you're making me feel like, I'm not putting in work. I'm enjoying myself. And if I'm not, then we don't need to.
Right. So I know
crazy.
We're coming up on the hour. I want to make sure that I get all the questions out of the way if we can. And Shelly, we could always have you back. I think, we've talked about some key experiences. Let's jump into, so now I'm a beginner in this lifestyle. My partner and I, or I'm a single woman or a single man. And I've had this. Usually it's a burning. You felt something lacking in your sexual life, right? So now what? What do I do?
Well, when somebody hits me up on Tinder, once some people I'll realize, women will hit me up, couples will hit me up, and we'll talk. And I'm like, okay, so did you read my profile? That's the first question I ask everybody. Did you read my profile? Okay, so I want to make sure you understand I'm not looking for a hookup. This is not a hookup. This is a friendship, a relationship, something more than a hookup. Like, I want to meet you. I want to know you better than just this.
Yeah.
So yes, I've read okay. So have you ever heard of this? Yes, I'm interested in knowing more about it, or I've been in it and I want to go back in it. I've just moved to town or whatnot. So then we talk. So then I determine, well, is this somebody that I'm actually still attracted to, or is this somebody that seems really cool that I would love to bring into the lifestyle?
Right.
So now I'm like, okay, well, this is what's happening. On Friday night, I'm going here, and on Saturday night, I'm going here. You should come and meet us.
Yeah.
I have had numerous couples, numerous singles meet me at the Rooster or a party or whatever. And I, especially a single woman, I will protect them and make sure, no creepies are up on them or anything like that. Answer any questions, give them a tour, keep them right next to me. Single men, sometimes you walk in a club and you'll see 2 or 3 guys following behind me, because what's happening is I'm introducing them. I'm making them less creepy. I've met them. I now know that this is a nice, cool dude, and I think he would really be great. And so once you introduce these single men and start introducing to the couples, and everybody goes, oh yeah, this is Dave. Oh yeah, this is John. Now these guys are not just these strangers. Now they're like, well, shit, Shelly's cool with them, so I'm feeling more comfortable. And once you give them some kind of, reference, now the single men are no longer creepies and they can enjoy themselves and have a good time. So I've definitely helped many single men do that also.
Awesome.
It's just a matter of being introduced and just explain a little bit, communication.
Yeah.
Once again, all day long.
Absolutely. And if this is something that you want to explore, I will tell you, my experiences with a lot of these situations are what you think is going to happen, I think, is that you walk through the door at one of these events, parties, clubs, whatever, and you're accosted by genitalia.
Or people are going to be fucking
Right,
all around you.
Right.
Like, it's like, no.
And the reality is that these are people like you and I. And so you go into these situations, many folks were talking about their favorite, and it's a well-known, it should be a fact, but it's a well-known precedent that most ethically non-monogamous people are into board games. It's just, I don't know why they're into games. And so I remember
I've never heard that before.
Absolutely. I think there's a meme about it. And so I remember, so my partner and I really don't play a lot in with other folks. We really, we're not there yet. We tried it. It's not something that we want to get back into right now. We're really focused on each other, and maybe once in a while having fun with.
I do love board games, though. I'm not gonna. Right? That's why I'm laughing. Yeah. I'm just like, I've never heard it, but I
do. So Dial comes to me at some point, and we were just having a good time talking, having a cigar, and she says, "Do you think we can have a board game night with some of these folks?" I said, "All right, let's try it out. Let's have some fun."
Yes.
Right. So really be open-minded. Don't think that you're gonna get accosted. So Shelly, we're coming to the end of the hour. What are some common questions that you get in your group that you think we can answer here tonight?
Oh goodness, could
we answer them? We could have answered them.
Yeah, we did. We answered a lot.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, it's just, where are you going to be? A lot of people, well, where are you guys going to hang out? Do you know these guys? A lot of guys. Okay. So from single women, the most inboxing I get is, single men or couples are in their inbox, and, especially if they're from my group, because they know I've picked and choose. I've watched everybody coming in there. So they'll hit me up and go, "Do you know this person?"
Yeah.
So once again, I'm able to give reference to people. Mm-hmm. I'm able to say, "Oh yeah, no, dude's cool as hell. Come on, girl, he's in my group. What do you expect?"
Absolutely.
So I like that. So people feel comfortable knowing that they're in an environment where they can go, "Okay, well, Shelly might know this guy, so let me talk because I think he's cute." And I'll be like, "Yeah, talk to him. He's really cool." And so and so. Or I'll be able to know, be very careful with that one.
I've been in a situation. I've seen this happen.
Right.
And that does happen, right? So you can't, and to your point, right? You can't stop these clubs. These clubs they're not going to be able to police everything. It'd be great if they could, but they can't. And so you're going to be in situations sometimes, and I've been in situations sometimes where my partner, we got to get out of here. This is not, I'm uncomfortable, whatever. Are you laughing at my?
Right. No, that's right.
Yeah. So I have an alarm that goes off at 7:50 that says at 8:00 you go to sleep. And I told that to Shelly the other night because she's like, "Hey, can we go through some of these questions about 9 p.m.?" I go, "Oh, honey, I'll be sleeping."
So he was going to be falling asleep while I'm asking questions. Yeah. So I'm like, all right.
So Doreen says, "Shelly's helped me a lot. If she approves, I know they are okay," which I love. So Shelly, I want to make sure that it's the last couple minutes of the show. I know that you mentioned that you like to help other folks. Is there anything we didn't touch upon that would be information that you'd like to share with the podcast tonight?
I
love that you have notes. I don't think anybody's brought paper notes to the podcast.
I did. I brought a lot. Just advance our OGs. This is it really, this is something really serious to me. Okay. It upsets me when somebody that's been in the lifestyle for 2, 3, 4, 10, 20 years complains about a newbie, or complains about somebody that's never been in the lifestyle or something that they've done or something that they've said. Instead of talking about them, let's help them. Let's communicate. We want everybody to have a good time. And for all that person that you explain something to is going to turn out to be your best friend or your best play partner. I mean, you just don't know. Instead of talking about it, talk to them.
Well, there's a saying, right? There's a meme that says, if you talk to everybody else about a problem you have with me, you didn't have a problem with me.
That part.
Right? It's you wanted to talk Robin. And so in the last show that we talked about the lifestyle, I talked about the very first night that I went with my partner and a different partner at the time. And what I was trying to say and what I said were two very different things. What I was trying to say is the sentiment that we were at the bar, and in New York, same as Las Vegas, you have to bring your own drinks. So we're at the bar, and I swear to God, they were talking about their kids were going to play soccer in a tournament the next day, right? Two different couples, their kids were meeting up to play soccer. And then it's like you turned your back, and 40 minutes later, one of the women was doing some freaky stuff right in the same room with two guys. And they said, this guy's really cool. Let's invite him to the chat room. So they invite me to the chat room. And what I was trying to say was, isn't this so cool that you can have these conversations and then this is what happens?
Right.
But the way it came out was as if I was making fun of that person. And so I got a DM from the woman's husband who said, hey, that's my wife. And I said, what I was saying was how cool that was. And he's like, that's not how it came out. And so I was mortified, embarrassed. I left the chat room. I didn't know what to do. These things are, and now this was me 10 years ago, and now I'm hosting podcasts and we talk about these things, and Dal and I do a lot of educational TikToks on this. You have to learn somewhere, and you're going to break some eggs. And so to Shelly's point, I think if this is something that you're truly passionate about, if you are an OG, as she says, be patient with, as long as they have good intentions, be patient with folks. If somebody's hovering over you with their pants down, kick them out of the club.
Even then, explain to them, dude, back up. You're wrong for this.
This isn't what we do. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even then, don't get upset. Tell them, dude, this is not cool. Back up.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because you want to have fun. You want to give them fun, but you don't also want to ruin your night.
Yeah. We even had somebody, Donald and I were taking pictures, and the guy was like, oh, I'll take a picture for you. Great. And he says to my partner, take your top off. And she laughs and I laugh because that's the first time. Then he goes, come on, you could do it. And I looked at him, I said, we don't do that. Give me the phone.
Take the damn picture.
You know what I mean? Yeah, take the picture, give me the phone. So anyway, this has been That Professor Radio. I want to thank you so much, Shelly, for coming on.
Yay,
I know that you were so excited to spread this wealth of knowledge. So thanks so much for coming on. You can find Shelly. And what is the name of your group, Shelly?
Living Loving Lifestyle. You cannot get in there. It is a private group.
Okay.
So you do need to be my friend. It's under Shelly. That's with 2 H's.
Okay.
So it's Shelly LS Funster is my name on Facebook. I'll open it up for the next 2 days because I normally don't like creepies.
Right.
But I would love to get some great lifestylers or even newbies if you have any questions. So it's Shelly with 2 H's, LS Funster.
Here, wait, let's put it up. Hold on.
Okay.
Shelly, what is it?
So it's SHH.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Kiki's got me already.
I love her.
Perfect.
There I am. So yeah, I'm going to open it up. You can always message me. Please decent questions. I have no problem being open and honest with you, but I will tell you about yourself too. Not going to lie.
Yep.
But please, I would love to, if you're interested in being in our group. I'm tied in with many other groups that have many other parties. Like I said, this is a community. We're happy. It's not a competition. We are trying to have a good time. A fucking good time is what it's all about.
Very funny. Thank you so much, Shelly, for coming on. That's Shelly LS Funster on Facebook. So in the next 48 hours, this is February 22nd. So in the next 48 hours, please, if you want to learn more from Shelly, hit her up on Facebook so she can invite you to the group. I want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing this wealth of knowledge. You are watching That Professor Radio. This is on That Professor Life's podcast network. I want to thank you so much for coming to Evening Class. Evening Class, as you may or may not know, is where we talk about topics that are a little bit more taboo that I wouldn't want necessarily my family or kids, if I had them, to be watching. So thanks so much for watching. That is it for the evening. Class is out. I hope you learned something. Go home. No homework for the evening. Have a wonderful evening.
Good night, sweetheart.
Good night, everyone.